All right, guys, welcome back to the BTB Show. Today, it is myself, Max. I'm in the studio with Omar and Earl. It's finally postseason time. Not technically playoff time yet, but it is the postseason. We got the play-in matchups tonight. It's going to be Charlotte hosting Miami in the 9-10 matchup for the Eastern Conference, and then it is Phoenix hosting the Blazers in the 7-8 matchup for the Western Conference. That game, whoever wins that game, will play the San Antonio Spurs in the first round of the playoff. But we're going to start out east, the 7:30 game Eastern time. Heat versus Hornets. Earl, I know you've been a big Hornets supporter, backer, advocate on the show this season. Are you backing them to take this win against Miami tonight, or do you think the Heat have an upset in them?
Look, man, y'all see the hat right here, man. As a lifelong Miami Heat fan, I have to say, we are absolutely losing tonight. I'm on the Charlotte Hornets side. Just kidding, I'm not a Heat fan, bro. Shout out to the Heat. I'm sorry, guys. Emotional. Whatever. I got Charlotte Hornets, man. If you guys watch me and Max's video on the Hornets, a little bit late into the season, we talked about keys to this Hornets team. One of the biggest things being their 3-point shooting. If you guys didn't know, LaMelo Ball and Con Knipple finished first and second and 3-pointers made on the season. That's the type of team you have to guard this season. On top of that, Brandon Miller has elevated his game, and for the first time, I feel like in a late run in the NBA, even though it really doesn't matter for the Hornets because they usually aren't in the situation, he's healthy. I think that's a big thing. His health has been a major factor the first 2 seasons of his career, and having a fully healthy Brandon Miller, LaMelo Ball, Con Knipple, I think this team is virtually, I don't want to say unstoppable, but they're such a youthful team. I don't think anybody really wants to play this type of roster in the first round. And if you look back at some of the games this season, they've given some of these teams a run for their money. I think the biggest thing for the Hornets, though, they have to learn how to fully close out games. I see LaMelo Ball and Con Knipple, Brandon Miller, those guys play 3 amazing quarters of basketball. But I think some of it slightly comes down to coaching. I know versus the I think it was the Celtics like last week, they had a really good lead going into the third quarter, but LaMelo Ball had I think like 36 going into the fourth quarter, and they sit him for the first 5 minutes of the quarter, and they lose the game. Like, you can't do that. Games like this, key games like this, single elimination, you have to show up and show out. And I think that's going to be the key. LaMelo Ball is going to have to max out his minutes because it's win or go home. You have to win too for a chance to go to the playoffs to play the Pistons. So for me, no offense to Miami Heat fans, bro. I'm tired of it, bro. I don't want to see the Heat in a playoff series. I think it's boring. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of the combination of Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero. Shout out to Jaime Jaquez. Love him a lot. He's on my fantasy team. Good work this year, buddy. But other than that, I'm not the biggest fan of the Miami Heat, and I think watching those series the last couple of years, to me personally, has been boring. There's no real presence, I feel like, there in general. Shout out to Bam Adebayo. I know he's been balling out this season, but other than that, I don't think a lot of NBA fans want to see that over Charlotte Hornets or some of the other teams in this conversation. So yeah, I'm going Hornets. Long story short, excited to see LaMelo Ball and the Hornets take on their first playoff competition.
All right, Omar, what about you? Are you also back in Charlotte tonight?
I won't be as disrespectful here. Um, no, but to be honest, I mean, look, I do back Charlotte here. I think they're a great team. And it's not to the extent do I think the team is boring. No, I really don't think the Miami Heat are boring by any means. Hell, Bam Adebayo just dropped 83 as a defensive center, right? I mean, shit. I'd want to do that too. But to be completely honest about the Miami Heat, I feel like, and it goes back to Earl's point, I really do feel like they're not clicking. I really do feel like this team is just like a brand of older basketball that's not really caught up to the current generation, and it just feels old and sloppy in my opinion. And it 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 reminds me of a time where they think they have a super team, and it's just like, what do you guys think you're competing for here? And this is, I kind of said this in the earlier in the season where I was like, why is Miami good? Why is Miami trying to be good? I understand they have their culture. I understand they have the Miami Heat culture. But why? What is the reason for your tanking other than, yeah, we're just not going to do it? Don't you, wouldn't you love a top 10 pick, Miami? I I think the Miami Heat would love a top 10 pick right now. I mean, and especially coming into this draft, I think they would love a top 10 pick. I think they can. Hell, even people like even lower in this draft. I'll go with Koa Pete. He was somebody that people were still really high on, and it's just like if Miami Heat could get somebody like him on the team, they could develop him and be a pretty good team. I don't understand why not, but they won't even have that chance because they're trying to compete and they're not trying to tank. And who knows? Adam Silver might pull the golden bell and say, "Yeah, Miami, you get the number 1 pick because you didn't tank," or Golden State gets the number 1 pick because they didn't tank. Like Adam Silver could very well say, "Ding ding 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 ding, it's Golden State's time." Like we genuinely don't know. And just like Patrick Ewing in the '90s with the cold letter and this, that, and the third, it's always gonna be what. It all comes down to this. I don't understand the Miami Heat. I don't understand what they're actually doing. I don't know why they're running it back with this team that has shown you that they can do nothing. I'm sorry, if you have to rely on Norman Powell to get you some buckets, no disrespect to Norman Powell, he's playing out of his mind, but god damn it, I'm not impressed. I'm not. I'm passing it to Max. Max, make me sound better here, please.
Yeah, I do think
I don't
that,
think we'll do that.
hang on. There we go. All right, now it's better. Yeah, honestly, Norman Powell, like, touching on the Norman Powell bit, I think I know he had that injury like a month or so ago. He's come back the last couple weeks. He hasn't looked great in the games that he has played. Similar to what Omar and Earl said, I just don't see the Heat clicking right now. It feels like they ended their season a bit on a low. I don't know that they are so much drastically worse than teams like Orlando or Philadelphia right now, but I think Charlotte is the biggest sleeper in the entire Eastern Conference. I think top teams like Boston and New York should feel lucky that they don't have to see Charlotte in the first round. And honestly, I think I don't know that I'd favor them in a first round matchup against Detroit if they can get there, but I certainly favor them over the Heat tonight. So I think we're unanimous. 3-0 Charlotte Hornets are going to move on, in our opinion, to the next matchup. Switching over to the Western Conference. Omar, I'm going to start with you this time. It's the Suns hosting the Blazers. This is for the right to play the Spurs. Who do you have in that matchup?
Look, I mean, I think that's actually going to be a competitive matchup, believe it or not. I really do think like a team like these players. I do think some of the Portland players will definitely put up a fight. When I look at the Phoenix Suns, the one thing I really see, and yes, I know they have Nick Richards, and I know they have what's his
They
name
actually
off the
don't have
bench.
Nick Richards,
Come
but
on, huh? No, come on,
they actually
Watch.
they traded him, but continue.
Wait. Am I am
They
I
have
am I
Mark
bugging? Are
Williams,
they?
not Nick Richards.
Oh my God, my bad. It's a Charlotte Hornet. They had them at one time. They both had them at one
They
time.
did.
Nick Richards got traded to Chicago. Sorry, you're right, Max.
Yes.
I'm so sorry. But bottom line is, do they really have somebody that can stop Donovan Clingan? Do they really have somebody on the level that can really grab a rebound as dominant as Donovan Clingan? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they'll have an answer for Denny Advia. Like Denny Advia has been playing out of his mind. Besides the point of whatever is going on, he's been playing great basketball. I know people like to say, "Oh, free throw merchant." I don't really care. Basketball is basketball. Um, look, Damian Lillard is looking at that team, and he's looking at a proud team right now. Because as soon as he comes back, and as soon as he's 100% and ready to go, ooh, we're actually going to look at this Portland Trail Blazers team like, holy crap, we actually have to worry about them. It's not going to be. Didn't Anthony Edwards say it was no more easy wins in Portland? Like, because
Facts.
they're becoming a great team, and you can see that. And I'm backing Portland for this matchup. I really do think so. I don't know if the Phoenix Suns have the personnel to stop the Portland Trailblazers. I don't think they have the size and the ability to do it. I think they have Devin Booker, and I think that's about it, in my opinion.
Earl, how do you feel about this? So we got one vote for Portland right now. Who are you picking?
Yeah, today I think usually me and Omar aren't eye to eye on a lot of situations and topics, but today I guess I'm gonna go 2 for 2 with Omar. I'm going Portland. And there's a lot of reasons I'm going with Portland. I think Omar made some really great points about center play. not only has Donovan Clingan been one of the most skillful bigs this season as far as defense, I think he's like number 2 or 3 in blocks on the season, which is impressive. Obviously, when you look at the Victor Wembanyama's of the world, it's kind of hard to measure against other guys. But yes, Donovan Clingan is still a great center as well on the defensive end too. Maybe not to the same level. But on top of that, Robert Williams has been impressing me a lot lately as well. And when I look at their center play versus Molly Wash and you said, who was it, Nick Richards, or was that the wrong person?
Mark Williams. Mark Williams.
And Mark Williams on the other end. I kind of favor their bigs a lot more. And crazy thing to say, which I didn't know, apparently Robert Williams shoots threes now. I was watching a couple Portland games and he was just letting it fly. I mean, cool, I guess. Don McClingan, I think the other night he hit like 4 or 5 threes. Okay, cool. So when they have the ability to stretch the floor that much on that end, I think it's going to be tough for the Phoenix Suns, especially because their bigs are really paint focused. It's going to be hard. I think me and Omar had conversations about maybe particular bigs being able to lock it in the playoffs. I won't say particular teams. When it comes to rebounding and stuff like that, I have the same thoughts and notions about Portland. And on top of that, 6-man play, you got Scoot Henderson, man. I know there's been some Scoot hate. I get it. But Scoot Henderson, I'm coming with the facts. Scoot Henderson in his last 20 games, I gave a bigger sample size. Scoot Henderson in his last 20 games, he's averaging 15 points per game, 3 assists, 2.5 rebounds, and the biggest concern, obviously, is shooting. In that stretch of games, he's shooting 40% from 3, and I think having that ability to space the floor, I know me and Max had conversations about this before. If you don't have that threat to shoot as a guard, it's really hard to keep you on the floor. And I think Scoot Henderson understood that going into the season, and that's a part of his game he's continuing to work on. And we've seen it being proven. He's had multiple 20-plus point games in the last couple of weeks. Some of these games starting, some of them come off the bench. And I think he's stepped up a lot. So I think looking at that, I'm kind of backing Portland. I'll talk about the Suns real quick, briefly. You can't really count out the Suns. Obviously, they have Devin Booker, a guy who honestly is almost in the underrated conversation now because not a lot of people talk about him anymore. Dylan Brooks is having the best season of his career, which is interesting because every time he loses a team, he continues to elevate and take steps to evolve his game. I can't count him out, especially when he plays 2 sides of the ball. So, yeah, I don't think it's by any means going to be an easy game. I think it's going to be very close and it's going to be action-packed. But I'm going Portland, man. And shout out to Drew Holiday, bro. He's an absolute dog and veteran leadership and a guy who has experience in big games like this. So, for that reason, I'm going Portland. What about you, Max?
I hear what you guys are saying about the Blazers, and I do really like that Drew Holiday shout out. I think he is also in that underrated player conversation when he's been on the court this year. I think he's been phenomenal. Think back to that game against the Clippers that Portland had a couple weeks ago, a must-win game for seeding, which wound up making the difference between being in this matchup and being in the 9-10 matchup. Drew Holiday had a phenomenal game. So I hear that. I see what Portland's building. I think they're a phenomenal young team. But I do think that in a one-game series against the Phoenix Suns, I think this is where their youth comes back to bite them. I do think that the veteran presence of someone like Devin Booker, who's the best player on that other team, he's been in the finals, he's been through playoff runs, he knows what it takes to win at this level. Dylan Brooks, like you mentioned, Earl, playoff performer, veteran, tested, been there, done that. Got guys off the bench like Grayson Allen, guys like Royce O'Neal. These are playoff performers. And I do think that the majority of this Portland team, this is their first real meaningful postseason experience, if you count the play-in as postseason. It's also going to be the home court of the Suns. Keep in mind, the Suns have been that 7 seed all year. They've kind of been in that awkward middle ground of they're not quite as good as that clear top 6 in the West, but they've pretty early on established themselves ahead of those other teams like the Clippers, the Blazers, the Warriors, the Mavericks, and they've stayed at that level all throughout the season. So I think if this was a 7-game series, it would go probably 6 or 7. But in a one-game winner-take-all, I'm taking the best player on the court, which in this case is Devin Booker, and I'm also taking the home court advantage, which in this case is the Suns. So maybe not surprising. I know I've been banging the Phoenix Suns drum all season long, but I'm going to go with the Suns for my matchup. But please do let us know what y'all think in the comment section below for these matchups. Again, Heat versus Hornets, 7:30 Eastern time tonight, and then Blazers versus Suns, 10 o'clock. Let us know who you got in those games. And as always, keep an eye out for our content. We're going to have a ton of good content coming out on this channel as we roll into the NBA postseason. We're super excited to be bringing it to you guys. Hope you guys will follow along with us. So enjoy the game tonight. Have a good rest of your day. This is the BTB Show. Signing off, everybody. Peace out.